Hello everyone, as usual, it's me Pavlo with a Kawaii daily dose of Ukrainian accent for you. Today we are going to talk about new upcoming release by Hidizs, their new player AP30 Music Bowie. As you can guess by the index, it's an affordable device targeted towards budget-friendly segment. Nevertheless, Hidizs decided to invest a lot of effort into creation of this model. They made a really attractive design inspired by classical Game Boy and other handheld consoles. They offering a few interesting color versions. They offering you a choice between plastic and aluminum versions, and both have the pro and cons. And that all will be available on the Kickstarter really soon for about $80. Plastic one will be slightly below 80 and aluminum one will be slightly above 80. And taking into account that it's based on Cirrus Logic 43198, it's going to be a really interesting player with and I'm having a high hopes for a good sound. So let's check out my expectations and have a closer look. Box is small and pretty attractive. It's made in this retro aesthetics that bring reminiscence to old Game Boy consoles. And here you can see available color versions, so 3 versions in plastic and 2 in aluminum alloy. But as you can see, they even put main advantage of plastic over aluminum here. Plastic is more lightweight, and plastic also offers 2 transparent versions. Also, traditionally for Hidizs, on the back side you can see pretty detailed list of technical specifications. So let's go inside of the box. Here you'll get black cardboard organizer with the player itself and a bunch of accessories packed underneath, pretty tightly packed. So let me pull everything out. So it's a warranty card, manual, some papers. Also you'll get screen protector, quality control notification, plastic half case if you want to protect it. Pretty nice accessory, and also magnet ring that you can use with your smartphone. If you have iPhone, it's already built in, but for non-Apple smartphones you can use this ring. You can glue it and use this case to attach it. And also you getting 2 USB cables, short one to use it as a portable deck if you want with your smartphone, and longer one for charging and other usages. So accessory set is pretty nice, I must admit. Of course, tastes differ, but I think virtually everyone will agree that this player looks really nice. You have plenty of color versions to choose from. You have a choice of material, and what is interesting here is that metal version doesn't cost too much compared to plastic one. Difference is like less than $10 or so. But actually in this case I'd probably prefer plastic version because it's much lighter, and also you can get a transparent version to see internals, which is a great addition to this Game Boy inspired look and feel. It's really nice. You can use it as some kind of clip-on accessory. You can clip it to your backpack or carry on your neck. Maybe we'll have some arm straps in the future. We'll see. But meanwhile, let's talk about what we have here. So on the front we have 2-inch screen, D-pad, A and B buttons, select and start. And what I really like, they place them properly. So here is A, here is B, and this one works as select, and start button is play pause, of course. On the bottom we have 2 headphones output, single-ended and balanced, And the USB Type-C, you can use it for charging, you can use it as a portable deck, pretty nice deck, I must admit. And also you can access internal memory and the SD card. And speaking about charging, I've got about 7 hours on the balanced output and like 9 on the single-ended. Hidizs stated 8 to 10 from balanced and 10 to 12 from single-ended. Probably it's also achievable. So overall, pretty okay lifetime. Here we don't have anything, and here and on the right side we have micro SD slot and also a volume button that is also clickable. You can press it and it works as an on-off button. On the rear side you can see this nice cute image of whale, because Hidizs actively cooperates with foundations that preserves ocean wildlife, which is a great initiative that I can only support and praise. So overall, screen is not sensor, so you'll need to use buttons to control, and the buttons are pretty tight. They are clicky and they require some effort to press. Subjectively, I'd prefer a bit softer buttons, but in this case, it's good that they are not mushy and not loose ones. So, in general, really nice in terms of controls, in terms of feel, and in all these external aspects. Menu is simple and pretty straightforward. You have 6 icons. First one is now playing, media library, and all that things in one. Then we have a folder browser. Then you have a built-in Tetris game if you want to entertain yourself a little bit. It's not the best Tetris implementation, but still more than enough to keep you busy somewhere in the queue or during long public transportation. Then Bluetooth, as far as I remember, only SBC codec is supported here, unfortunately, but still better than nothing. Then electronic books reader. I'm not sure how useful it will be on such a tiny screen, but it's usually better to have some function and don't use it than don't have it at all. And the settings, you can set date and time. In the common settings, it's screen off, timer and brightness, timer shutdown, filter, gain adjustment, 2 levels of gain here available. Then information, languages selection, and initializes they meant reset the settings. And let's go to now playing screen. So here it is. You can see album cover, a lot of information about everything, and here is progress. Start button works as play pause, and the select opens additional menu with equalizer, shuffle, and things like that. So you can select your custom equalizer, but not too much sound customization options, but at the same time basic ones are present, so you can adjust to your likings. Overall, of course, Hidizs will release more upgrades, and I encountered a few small bugs when I was playing with it, but overall firmware is pretty okay, and it's reasonably made and working pretty nice. Hidizs made a big bet on the sound quality, and they definitely didn't try to cut the cost here. Despite this player being affordable, they put inside Cirrus Logic 43198 and a pretty decent amplifier in terms of control. And because of that, we are getting really nice, well-balanced sound with solid weight when it's necessary, with good technicalities, but without going into the dry or overly analytical representation. We are getting nice stage and well-refined treble. But let's dig a bit into detail. So, bass go to the maximum depth. It's really well controlled. It's solid. It has nice body, but at the same time, it's not trying to add something extra that is not present in the record. When necessary, you're getting nice rumble. When it's not necessary, low frequencies are not dominating. Good amount of small nuances, nice texturing, and overall pretty decent control. And here is the example. It's Cougartown by Abrams. And here we're getting really nice double bass with all nuances of the instrument. Mid frequencies are well refined, they are really detailed, saturated, musical, but at the same time not overly focused on the micro contrast and small nuances, so player doesn't try to push details into your face or highlight any issues. Imaginary stage is pretty big, not super huge, and probably lacking a bit of holographic representation typical for more expensive device, but still it's really big with nice width and depth. Player is not critical for the quality of records, but good material is a nice thing to have with it, because you definitely will be able to tell between different remasters and so on. And as an example for the mid frequencies, let's take Rhayader from the Snow Goose by Camel. Great performance, really nice track. For me, it's closer to classical music than to the art rock, but it's superb performance, and it sounds so saturated with nuances with this player that sometimes I starting to doubt its price and size. Nice to have all that modern progress. And the treble, good extension. Of course, layering is super basic, but at the same time, attacks and decays are really properly made, and they have a nice amount of energy put into the high frequencies. So overall, you're getting a lot of overtones, and both basic and advanced. Of course, it's not some kind of rich audiophilic type of treble, but still, performance here is also really nice. And for the example, let's take David Bowie Platinum Collection. I think Space Oddity will be a really nice example here, because of guitar and vocal and all that airness that goes to the high frequencies here. And this player once again positively surprised me with sound quality. In terms of pairings, player is really nice. It has great black background with sensitive IEMs, and it has not too much power, but enough for power efficient full size headphones. I don't remember exact figures. It's something like 120 milliwatts per channel for the balanced output, and 63, 64 for single-ended output. It's not too much, but in my opinion, it makes absolute sense for the small device. I don't need like 3, 4, 500 milliwatts in small player. I need a bit less power, but longer battery lifetime. In my opinion, it's a great trade-off, and from the balanced output, it works really nice with not super power hungry full-size headphones without any problems. It controls them well. In terms of comparisons, we have a bunch of models in this price range. Few actively releasing models in their Snow Sky series. Also, we have Hibee R1. And they all offer different form factors, different control schemas. Some use sensor screens, some use buttons. So I will skip all non-sound related things, because it's at the end it's a matter of preferences, which design you like, which controls you prefer, or something like that. And actually, sonically, difference is not huge too, but let's try to focus on this. So Hibee R1 slightly more tighter and more impactful in sound. It has slightly faster attacks and decays, especially on the mids and lows. Here you're getting a bit more balanced sound. It's less efficient in terms of extra coloration, but it's more natural. But difference is not huge. Snow Sky Disc is a bit more focused on the micro contrast and at the same time a bit more highlighting emotions. And this one is also closer to neutrality. But overall, frankly speaking, I think it's still a matter of your preferences in terms of exterior, because sonically difference is not big, and probably subjectively in terms of sound I'd prefer AP30 because it has the best overall balance and representation. But maybe it's just because I really like this design and aesthetics, so I definitely recommend you to take a closer look at this player and leverage their early bird deals. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course, have a great day.